What up, y'all?
Welcome
to the J&O Show,
where we talk about.
In this clip, the Humans with Brain podcast approached the subject about relationships between people who are high earning, high value. And he's talking about the relationship between men and women. Stick to the end because he dropped some stuff in there that women definitely want to hear and that men might want to hear too.
We're going to go ahead and push play.
Men do a lot to be better men, and they're not told to keep a woman. But women are trying to prove that they don't need a man. But it's like the opposite.
Because when we get money so that we can take on dependence. I can have a family, I can have kids. When women get money, it's for your independence.
What do you think of that one? I thought that was very interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is very interesting.
On a surface level, of course, this isn't everybody.
Yeah.
It seems like the perspective they're coming from is not necessarily from people who are married, but for single people who are trying to build themselves up.
Yeah.
Do you think it's accurate?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm like, but you kind of have to, though. If you're single, I mean, you're independent, so you have to get money to be able to take care of yourself.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah, but they're speaking to the reason why people are building themselves up. So they're saying that the reason the man is building himself up is not for him to gain his independence. It's for him to take on dependence.
I understand that.
Whereas the woman is doing it not to take on dependence.
I understand that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, unless you getting married straight out of high school or college, you kind of have to do that unless you're living at home with your parents.
You kind of have to do what?
You have to go out there and work so that you can gain money so you can be independent.
But they're taking it one step further. You're stopping at a certain point and they're still going. They're talking about the motivation. The motivation behind a man going out and getting the job, as we said, is not for him to be independent.
I hear that and I understand that.
So are you saying you agree with them?
I agree with that statement. Yes, okay. I do. But what I'm saying is the woman, unless she's getting married right outside of college or high school, if she doesn't go to college, if she just graduates from high school and she starts working or whatever, what I'm saying is she has to do that. She has to work to get her money to be independent because she doesn't have someone to take care of her, is what I'm saying.
But it doesn't have to be for the purpose of.
For the purpose of independent?
You could be taking care of yourself because I have to maintain until I find my husband. You can do that. And that is not to gain your independence. That is, I'm doing this so that I can survive until I find my husband because I want to find a husband.
Or if I find a husband.
Right. Or it could be if I find a husband. A part of the reason that a lot of women are having issues finding a man and getting into a marriage is because of their mindset.
I know.
Everybody knows that you have to take care of yourself. You're a functioning adult. That's all it is. But your reasoning behind it makes it so that when you get into a relationship, you have a very different mindset to the relationship. That's where the difference is going to come. The man and the woman are doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. They're both taking care of themselves as functioning adults. Mm-hmm. But when they go into a relationship, their mindsets are completely different because the man is not thinking about his independence. How often do you hear a man say, we're getting into this relationship, I just want to make sure that I maintain my independence?
That's weird.
And I'm not saying never, but when you talk about how often something is said from one side to the other.
I get that.
I get it.
And yes, the mindset is going to be basically what affects the relationship, whether or not it's, whether or not it's viable, whether or not it lasts, because you can't be independent in a relationship. In a marriage, you can't be independent. You're supposed to be interdependent once you become one. So I do understand that. You would have to, want to be married, like you do want to end up getting married.
Which is not for everybody.
Yeah, which is not for everybody.
Which it should not be for everybody.
But then to me, but still, to a certain extent, sometimes I feel like it's a catch-22 nowadays, because then you also hear the flip side. Guys will say, well, she's just looking for somebody to take care of her. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Those two comments would not be said by the same types of guys. She just looking for somebody to take care of her would not be from a more traditional minded person. So the question would be, do you want a guy who believes that things should be 50-50 because he believes that you and him are 100% equal, not only in stature, but also in role? Because that's where that comment comes from. That comment comes from somebody who believes the feminist narrative. That's a male feminist.
Okay, well, I mean, it's a lot of them out there.
It's a lot of them out there, but the question is, what are you preparing yourself for?
a lot of women are saying that there are not a lot of good men, quote unquote, out there for a myriad of different reasons. But I also think one of the issues is, because we've talked about this before, as far as like the whole feminist men, they're so focused on, yes, she can do this, she can do that, that's my equal, we can do this, that, and the third, what have you. To a lot of the modern women, that dude is unattractive.
Ouch. Listen, y'all, go ahead.
So if that dude is unattractive and they keep on getting with this type of dude and it keeps on ending, they have to continue to work for that independence, because what they're being told and what's happening by these guys that they're getting with that are feminists, who's looking at them like, yes, we're equal, so this my half, this your half. So it's not, okay, let me depend on you. It's like, okay, I still need to be independent because I can't rely on you. So that's why I'm saying, like, you kind of have to. Now, on the other side, if the woman is able to find a guy who is not a feminist and who is more of the traditional mindset, then yes, they can put that barrier down. But if they're constantly engaging with these type of guys and it's giving them that narrative like all men are trash because they keep on dating these dudes that basically want them to be their equal, it's going to be difficult for them to say, okay, well, I don't need to be independent, because the track record of the dudes that they've been with have told them otherwise, told them that they do need to still be independent to a certain extent because they need to have their own, because they got to pay for their half of the rent, the mortgage, whatever the case may be. They got to pay for their stuff.
More of the story is you get what you work for. There was a video that I saw not too long ago, and I don't know if we actually did a reaction to it or not, but I remember it was a woman who was talking about the types of men she was meeting, and she was frustrated because the men that treated her like she wanted to be treated tended to be conservative-minded men. So she wanted the treatment that the conservative-minded men would give her, and the idea that he would take care of her, but she still wanted to be independent and to be free to do what she wanted to, as if she were with a more progressive-minded man. But she didn't like dating the progressive-minded man because she didn't feel like a woman. I'm just letting y'all know the way that the dating market is working nowadays. You have to be very careful what you're putting out there, because what you're putting out there is often what you're going to get back. And it's not always going to look like you think it is. A lot of times the things you want come in packages that you don't want them in. That happens all the time. I don't care if you want to say that this is how God works or you want to say this is how life works. This is just the experience. The things you need almost never come in the package that you want.
I don't need a man. I don't need this. I can buy my own house. I can buy.
So that's
but if you do that, you take away his need. If you got the house, the car, and he has no purpose for that relationship. So he will not have the vigor it takes to make sure that the relationship is abundant, joyous, and in harmony. He doesn't have the joy.
He can provide emotional intelligence.
It don't work like that. You can't tell a man what's intrinsically important to him just because you want it to be important. When you take away
that was a bar right there. Me and this guy, we not always 100% in sync. Check out this video. He was talking about men and cheating and women cheating being different, and then he mixed up the way that
this the same dude?
It's the same guy.
He looked different.
His hair is cut different. It's the same guy.
Yeah, he was wilding with that.
Yeah, he was wilding with that. He was wilding with that. Check out that video, because I had props and everything. It was great. It was great. He hit on something there.
That's true. We're going to get to the end of the clip, y'all, we promise. But a lot of people, I don't think they stop to think about that. Okay, let's say you have a hammer. You're trying to put together a chair, and you bought your chair from IKEA, okay? And it come with the instructions, and it tell you what you need. You need a hammer, you need a mallet, and it's like with a guy, when he comes, he doesn't come with the instruction manual, but but he tells you, and we know certain things just from history, that men are built a certain way. Like there's certain things that are within them, just like women are built a certain way. So with men, it's in their nature to protect. It's in their nature to cover. And in this instance, like he's talking about to provide. Like he's been building himself up to do this thing that's been put in him since birth. And then it's like now you as the woman, because you've been out there by yourself and you've had to basically take care of yourself and provide for yourself for however long it was before you end up getting into the relationship with this person. He comes into the relationship and he's wanting to basically do these things or give you these things. And you're just like, well, I don't need those things because I have it already. I have myself. Then he's just like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? And then you now tell him, okay, well, I need you to be emotionally intelligent. And it's like, okay, what does that really mean? What are you telling? You're telling him to do something that's, I want to say, outside of himself, or not necessarily something that's built within him. It's just like, if a guy was to come and tell a woman, like, you know what, I already have a house, I have kids already, I have a maid that does this, that, and the third, or what have you. Well, some women would be like, great. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to do any of that stuff. I don't need you to cook for me. I don't need you to take care of me. I have people to do all these different things. It's like after a while, the woman is just going to be like, well, what is there for me to do? Kind of out of sorts. And you just be like, what? Like, this is weird.
That's weird, guys.
What do you need me here for?
You're basically saying that you got a hammer, going back to your analogy.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about the analogy.
So basically, men are a hammer and you're asking them to do what a screwdriver does.
Basically, yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. I said all that to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why so many successful women are single. That's why. And I'm not saying that their decision was right or wrong. I am saying that they're devoid of being able to pair bond with the kind of man they want. And if they're going to successfully pair bond or have a half a chance at it, they got to date down.
Provide me loyalty, I can finance myself.
A man don't operate like that. If a man is a man, we're natural teachers. So if we're not trying to teach you what we know, we really don't like you. That's the quickest way to see if a man.
What does that got to do with loyalty?
I just said men don't work like that.
Right.
I started off with that. Mm-hmm. That platitude means nothing to a man. You can repeat it, regurgitate it, and put it on your picture 3 times and your story, and the man still ain't gonna resonate with, I can buy my own car, give me loyalty. No. Intrinsically, we have to feel needed and necessary to the relationship. You came having everything. You don't listen. You have an attitude and you think your accolades, your success, and your bank account makes us an equal.
Yeah, but
and it does not.
I asked, what does that have to do with loyalty? I didn't say she's got an attitude, she's got this. No, what if she's in her feminine and she just wants loyalty?
The way a man sees loyalty ain't necessarily the way a woman sees loyalty, because we're hardwired differently. If he cannot build with her and further build her up, that relationship will end 1 year from now, 6 months from now, 3 years from now. If he cannot come in and build with you, build you up, further his provision and get you on his page, the relationship won't work unless you date down. You have to date down, because those are where the betas are.
I mean, that's how you sum that up.
He said date down because that's where the betas are.
Beta!
Wow. So I'm guessing that was a larger, well-off, successful woman, high-value man conversation.
Probably.
Yeah. Women are trying to make men do things that are not intrinsically them.
Yeah.
And they're saying that it's because of how you were raised. Well, we saw what happens when you have a lot of women raising boys. They tend to not know how to put their emotions in place. Okay, so recently we shot a video. One of the things I said in the video is that no relationship should be at the mercy of your emotions. And I'm taking a little bit of a different path here when I'm talking about it. Emotions should follow the decision you make, not influence the decision you make. That's why for those of us Bible believers, the Bible says that you have to learn to desire righteous things because you're born desiring unrighteous things. Mm-hmm. And it's a learning process. And in a way, it simply is saying you have to make a decision and then have your emotions follow your decision as opposed to following your emotions. It's just one of those things, y'all. I don't think that men are built a certain way. Sorry. Thanks to Dr. Caroline Leaf and the connections to emotions versus logic and things of that nature. We got a video coming out about that yet. We haven't shot it yet, but I do have it in the queue about logic and about men. It was just a couple of clips that I found talking about logic and the way men think. I think it'll be very useful to us. And I'm done.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. Go ahead and comment your thoughts down below about all of what we said. I know I kind of went on a tangent, but hopefully you guys followed me and you understood. Thank you, Jay, for bringing it home with my analogy that I just totally just left. But yeah, hammer, screwdriver. All right. Comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And if you made it this far, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications, okay? And give us a thumbs up. That helps with the algorithm, okay? And it tells YouTube that you appreciate what we're putting down.
What we're putting down.
Hey, everybody. Down in the description, there are 2 links.
One is to a GoFundMe, and the other one is to a video that explains what the GoFundMe is for. Long story short, we have a medical situation with our daughter that we have to pay for everything out of pocket, and we could really use you guys' help. If you have the time, we'd love for you to go check it out. If you have the money, the funds, we'd love for you guys to help. If not, maybe you could send a link to somebody else who can help. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Press the out button.